Once upon a time, not the boring kind, a horned fairy tried to live her best life. But royal drama, sneaky humans, and a rather grumpy queen had other plans. There's magic, mayhem, and just a dash of doom. This is Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and it's not your grandma's fairy. We meet Angelina Jolie as Maleficent, Michelle Pfeiffer as Queen Ingrith, and Ella Fanning as Aurora. The film kicks off in the mystical moors, where three men are clearly up to no good. They creep up to a tree full of adorable mushroom fairies. One guy actually manages to snatch a few, because nothing says smart decision like grabbing magical beings from a mysterious forest. Unsurprisingly, a large horned creature with serious "do not mess with my forest" vibes shows up and quickly turns two of the men into fairy fertilizer. The third guy narrowly escapes with one mushroom fairy in hand and dashes off to the kingdom of Ulstead, presumably to cause trouble. Meanwhile, the narrator catches us up. It's been 5 years since Maleficent became the unexpected fairy godmother to Princess Aurora, saving her from her not-so-doting dad, King Stefan. But instead of getting a thank you card, Maleficent's image has taken a dive. People still think she's the villain of the story. Classic. Fast forward to present day. Aurora is now the reigning queen of the moors, in charge of all things magical and sparkly. Enter the three resident fairy aunties, Knotgrass, Thistlewit, and Flittle, along with Pinto, a mischievous little porcupine fairy who believes the best way to start a conversation is by stealing Aurora's crown. Aurora gives chase, only to end up falling into a river, because of course she does. As she's drying off, Prince Philip appears with perfect timing and an even more perfect proposal. Aurora says yes, the fairies squeal, and everyone is thrilled. Almost everyone. Back at Maleficent, her loyal raven-turned man, Diaval, hears the news and rushes off to report it. Before he can get the words out, Maleficent shows up with a dramatic swoop and a face that says, "Did someone say wedding? Not on my watch." Over in Ulstead, Prince Philip is riding back home with General Percival, who, let's just say, isn't exactly in the Team Maleficent fan club. Like many of the good people of Ulstead, he sees the moors and their magical inhabitants as creepy, dangerous, and probably the reason his garden never grows right. When Philip tells his royal parents, King John and Queen Ingrith, that Aurora said yes to his shiny proposal, they break into royal smiles and start planning a charming little dinner. Oh, and by charming, we mean potential disaster. While everyone else is picking out napkin colors, Queen Ingrith sneaks down to her secret villain lair in the castle basement. Because, of course, she has one. Down there, blacksmiths are busy making very unfriendly-looking weapons, and Lickspittle, her loyal but twitchy servant, is cooking up something extra nasty using a mysterious flower. You know, your standard pre-dinner preparations. Oh, and surprise! She's got that cursed spindle from the first movie tucked away in her evil toolbox. Nothing suspicious about that at all. Meanwhile, back in the moors, Maleficent touches down in full dramatic flair for a little mother-daughter moment with Aurora. She gives her blessing for the engagement, which in Maleficent terms means she didn't curse anyone or turn anything into a toad. Progress. Aurora, ever the peacemaker, begs her to play nice with Philip's family. Maleficent sighs, clearly sensing this dinner will be less of a fairy tale and more of a social landmine, but she agrees to go, for Aurora's sake. Diaval tries to coach Maleficent on how to be polite and charming. Aurora, trying to help smooth things over, gives her a delicate veil to cover her very majestic, very intimidating horns. Because apparently nothing says friendly dinner guest, like pretending you're not a powerful forest guardian with magical headgear. What could possibly go wrong? Maleficent, Aurora, and Diaval glide into Ulstead like a gothic winged entourage. Aurora's all smiles, Diaval's trying not to look like he's expecting a disaster, and Maleficent, well, she's doing her best to pretend she isn't about to curse the appetizer. From the moment they arrive at the castle, it's clear the vibes are off. Queen Ingrith, looking like she bathed in passive aggression that morning, rolls out the royal welcome, complete with iron silverware. Now, if you're not up on your fairy etiquette, that's like handing someone a cactus instead of a chair. Maleficent notices, of course, but chooses not to incinerate anyone. Growth. Dinner begins, and Ingrith wastes no time stirring the pot. First, she casually brings up that infamous curse Maleficent once placed on baby Aurora, like it's a charming family anecdote. Then she hints that Maleficent might have something to do with the recent disappearance of those poor men in the moors. But the pièce de résistance? Ingrith smirking and declaring that Aurora will finally have a real mother once she marries Philip. Cue Maleficent's internal monologue, "Do not explode. Do not explode." Okay, explode just a little. She rises dramatically, wings flaring like she's about to host a magical TED Talk titled, "Why You Don't Mess With Me." She tells Aurora they're leaving before someone gets turned into a decorative hedge. But before they can storm off, King John clutches his chest, gasps, and hits the floor like it's open mic night in a Shakespearean tragedy. Ingrith, ever the opportunist, gasps loudly and cries, "Maleficent did it!" The room erupts into chaos. Aurora, caught between her godmother and her future in-laws, doesn't know who to believe. Maleficent pleads with her, insisting she didn't curse the king, but Aurora's silence is louder than any spell. Heartbroken, Maleficent takes off into the night, wings flapping like thunderclouds. But she doesn't get far. Ingrith's loyal henchwoman Gerda fires a bolt of iron straight at her, and down she goes, crashing into the sea below. Just as it seems all hope is lost, a mysterious winged figure swoops down and plucks her from the water like a very dramatic sea rescue. Who or what just saved her? Done, done, done. Hold up. Before we dive back into the fairy chaos, smash that subscribe button like Maleficent smashing royal dinner plans. Ring the bell too, or a disgruntled pixie might hide your snacks. You've been warned. Now, back to the drama. Back in the castle, King John is laid out in bed like a royal Sleeping Beauty knockoff. Aurora, still clinging to hope and perhaps a little too much optimism, suggests Queen Ingrith try True Love's kiss to wake him up. Philip agrees because, hey, it's worked before. Twice, actually. But when Ingrith leans in and plants one on John's royal forehead, crickets. Not a twitch, not even a polite cough. Turns out Ingrith's idea of true love is more true manipulation. And surprise, she's the one who cursed him in the first place. Big shocker to literally no one with a pulse. Meanwhile, Gerda shows up like an evil UPS driver to report that Maleficent didn't just fall into the ocean. She was rescued by some other mysterious flying creature. Ingrith makes a mental note, must add new winged threat to her to-do list, right between start fairy genocide and bake cupcakes for propaganda tea party. Maleficent waking up in an unfamiliar place with her wounds carefully tended. Clearly, someone's got fairy first aid skills. She limps out and discovers she's not alone. She's in the middle of a secret hideout full of other dark fays. She meets Connell, the one who swooped in and saved her from her impromptu ocean dive. He's calm, wise, and clearly the let's try peace first type. Bora, his hot-headed co-leader, is not. Bora takes one look at Maleficent and goes full sass mode, mocking her for having a human in her life. Maleficent, ever graceful under fire, okay, maybe not, gives him a quick, magical smackdown to remind him she's not someone you mock lightly. Bora, naturally, loves this. "Look at that power," he basically shouts. "Let's use it to roast the humans and take back the land." Connell, however, has other plans. He takes Maleficent on a grand tour of their hidden world, a lush, magical sanctuary where fairies of all kinds live in secret, wielding unique powers. It's like Hogwarts, if everyone had wings and way more attitude. He reveals something big. Maleficent is descended from a legendary phoenix fairy, a being of immense power. Cool, right? Well, yes. Except her ancestor got a little too spicy with the dark magic, went full chaos mode, and ended up turned into a glowing rock. So, maybe don't repeat that part. Connell gently warns her, with great power comes great risk, and possibly great fashion, if you manage the wings right. Back at Olstead Castle, tiny troublemaker Pinto the Porcupine Fairy sneaks in on a solo spy mission. Clearly thinking she's in some kind of magical Mission Impossible. She does manage to find the kidnapped mushroom fairy, Score, but before she can pull off a daring rescue, she's captured by none other than Lickspittle. He promptly adds her to his collection of imprisoned fairies, like she's just another sparkly knickknack. Rude. Meanwhile, Aurora is still playing the world's most awkward game of pretend family with Queen Ingrith, who is piling on the fake affection like it's frosting on a passive-aggressive wedding cake. things take a turn for the toxic when Ingrith passive-aggressively suggests Aurora wear her old wedding dress instead of the one handcrafted with love by the 3 fairy godmothers. Aurora tries to smile through it, but you can tell she's starting to see the cracks in this royal charade. Down in the castle's evil laboratory, every villain seems to have one. Lickspittle shows Ingrith her shiny new toy, aka a fairy nuking weapon. He's mixed the cursed flower with iron powder, which turns it an ominous red and makes it absolutely lethal to any fairy it touches. Just to prove how wonderfully evil it is, he picks up an innocent little dandelion fairy and sprinkles the powder. Poof! Instant tragic sparkle dust. Ingrith, pleased as a villain with a monologue, orders Gerda to invite the moorfolk to the wedding. And by invite, we mean force them to show up to their own doom. Meanwhile, far from this royal nonsense, Maleficent suddenly gets that feeling. You know, the one where you sense something's very wrong, even before the music gets dramatic. She takes to the skies and soars toward the moors, where sure enough, she finds Ingrith's soldiers ransacking the sacred flowers like they're picking daisies for destruction. Before Maleficent can unleash her full wrath, the soldiers ambush her and open fire with iron bullets. But Connell, noble hero that he is, swoops in to shield her, taking the hit like the magical MVP he is. A fierce battle breaks out, as the other Dark Fays fight back and chase the soldiers off, but the damage is done. The fairies return to mourn, laying Connell to rest in a solemn ceremony. As his life fades, he reaches for Maleficent one last time, not with anger, but with purpose. His essence flows into her like ancient magic, connecting her to the earth, to their people, and to something even greater. As he becomes one with the land, she stands there, grieving and glowing with newfound power. Bora, meanwhile, has had enough. "This means war," he declares, rallying the Fays with fire in his eyes and zero interest in diplomacy. The fairies ready themselves for battle, because clearly, Queen Ingrith has poked the wrong horned bear. As the wedding guests begin arriving in Ulstead, the unsuspecting moorfolk show up in full sparkly splendor, ready for what they think is a magical union, not a magical massacre. Meanwhile, Aurora, still stuck in this emotionally manipulative royal nightmare, starts feeling something weird from the spot on her finger where she was pricked all those years ago. Fairy spidey sense, perhaps. Curious, and just a little suspicious, she starts snooping around the castle and stumbles upon Ingrith's secret lair, which is exactly as villainy as you'd expect, minus a lava pit. There, she discovers the spindle, the cursed one, and has a magical flashback that reveals the truth. It was Ingrith who pricked King John with the enchanted end, putting him into his current king-sized coma. And that's not all. Aurora also meets Lickspittle in his full tragic backstory mode. Turns out, he's a pixie who lost his wings, because Ingrith took them. No wonder he's cranky. Forced into servitude, Lickspittle has been helping her build the ultimate anti-fairy weapon out of survival, not loyalty. Before Aurora can run and spill the tea, Ingrith shows up in full Evil Queen mode. She wastes no time, and has Aurora tossed into the castle dungeon like a misbehaving flower girl. Back at the wedding chapel, things take a dark turn, literally. Ingrith has all the moorfolk guests herded into the chapel under the pretense of unity, then seals the doors. Gerda, loyal henchwoman and all-around bad vibe, starts releasing the dreaded red powder into the air vents. Within moments, it begins to disintegrate some of the peaceful tree folk, turning a joyous ceremony into a horrific trap. Outside, Maleficent and Bora lead the Dark Fays in a bold charge against the castle, but their attack is met with a storm of powder bombs, and just like that, fairy wings are falling like autumn leaves. Some perish instantly, and the rest are forced to retreat. It's a brutal blow. Meanwhile, Aurora manages to escape her cell, because no dungeon can hold a determined fairy princess for long, and rushes to Philip, She tells him everything. His sweet, smiling mother is actually the evil mastermind behind it all. When Philip confronts Ingrith, she doesn't even try to deny it. In fact, she practically brags about it, like she's going for worst mom of the year. Philip, rightfully horrified, chooses his heart over his heritage. He defies Ingrith and makes a daring escape by leaping from the tower onto a balloon. Back in the chaos of battle, Bora descends upon General Percival, ready to deliver some high-flying revenge after Percival strikes down another fairy. But before he can deal the final blow, Philip jumps in and stops him. With conviction in his voice, he tells Bora, "This isn't my war. I won't spill innocent blood for her lies." It's a moment of truth, and for the first time, the sword lowers. Maleficent watches Philip's act of mercy and realizes he can be trusted. She heads straight for Ingrith, meeting her for a showdown on the castle tower. Meanwhile, after one brave tree creature sacrifices himself to protect the three fairies, Flittle heroically dives into the organ, filling it with magical flowers that stop the deadly powder from spreading. Knotgrass and Thistlewit then team up to send Gerda tumbling off a balcony. Deadly fairy justice. Aurora rushes, and just as Maleficent is about to strike down Ingrith, pleading that Maleficent isn't truly evil, Ingrith fires an arrow at Aurora, but Maleficent heroically takes the hit and disintegrates. Aurora's tears revive Maleficent in her majestic phoenix form, who brings down the tower. Ingrith's last desperate move is to throw Aurora off the tower, but Maleficent saves her and they crash to the ground. As Ingrith tries to flee, Bora and the other fairies catch her. Outside, Maleficent asks Philip if he really loves Aurora, and he honestly says yes. With her blessing, Lickspittle hands over the cursed knife. Maleficent breaks the curse, the spindle vanishes, and King John wakes up. Ingrith gets a not-so-gentle boot out of the castle, literally dropped by vines, and then Maleficent turns her into a goat for her crimes. Philip and his dad share a happy reunion, deciding to keep Ingrith as a goat a little longer. Aurora and Philip finally tie the knot, with Maleficent proudly walking Aurora down the aisle. Humans and fairies begin living together in peace. Knotgrass and Thistlewit argue over the color of Aurora's dress until a nearby flower magically turns it blue, hinting that Flittle might still be hanging around. Maleficent waves goodbye, but cheekily promises to come back for the couple's baby's christening. Because hey, some fairy duties never end. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked this story and want to see more magical adventures, go ahead and subscribe. It's free and way easier than fighting a dragon. Don't forget to hit the bell so you're the first to know when new videos drop. Catch you in the next one.